Good evening. Welcome, all you lovely people. For some reason, I have no idea where Modwain is. I've been trying to contact him. He's not responding. I hope it's for good reasons, not bad ones. Who can say? So, I have some ideas that are all very, very boring, and Paolo is offering to tell us about the Portuguese parliamentary elections tomorrow. Well, 7 of you. Well, 2 of them are me, Richard. That's what's even worse about it. Because in order to watch the stream, I have to use a different browser with a different identity, or else it buffers like mad. But yes. Some new old news is where I'd like to start. I watched, I'm a big fan of the trio who are Janice Fiamengo, Tom Golden and Paul Elam. And they have a series now. They've done 34 34 episodes or so regarding men. I believe this is number 34. And they just do this week. I think it's about weekly, 3 tripartite discussion between them on some topic or other. And their recent one was so up to date because, okay, here's what happened. They've linked a video which was uploaded on the 25th of September. So that video is quite current. However, in fact, I'll share it with you. I'll stick my Discord over there. Just now I've got sign of Modwain playing Eve online. Hi, Modwain. And oops, sorry. Where's my thing? OBS. Where's my thing? Okay, display right. Put that to the top. Do a transition. Okay. So we have. It's all very odd. So yes, this is the debate. This is the video they linked. As you can see, the date on the video is the 25th of September. However, it is of a monk debate from the 2013. So it's both new and old. Oh, we tried that, Richard. OBS was not very nice. Not very nice at all. I mean, Modwain has a voice stream called the Wednesday Stream. Oh, hi, Modwain, are you coming on? I haven't set up a Hangout, but you can do that and link it to me. It doesn't really matter. So yes, so they were discussing this debate, and what it was, and I'll just read you out the description. Since the beginning of human civilization, men have been the dominant sex. But now, for the first time, a host of indicators suggest that women are not only achieving equality with men, tell the feminists that, but are fast emerging as the more successful sex of the species. Whether in education, employment, personal health, or child rearing, statistics point to a rise in the status and power of women at home, in the workplace, and in traditional male bastions such as politics. But are men and the age-old power structures associated with maleness permanently in decline, or do men still retain significant control over the workplace, the family, and society at large, including women? In sum, where are the sexes headed in the 21st century? 1 second, folks. I'm just going to copy link, go to there, open a new window, open the Hangout, join Hangout. Currently in decline, or do men still retain? Hello, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
I don't know why I can't hear you.
I'm not sure why you can't hear me.
Because I know why. Sorry, Modwain, I'll be 2 ticks.
That's all right.
And you should be audible in 1 second. Now you're audible. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
I'd forgotten to start voice meter, but my PC was still rooted to have voice meter as the audio.
Am I still echoing though, Ludicrous? Because I can't hear
Well, you're not echoing to me, and therefore you shouldn't be to the stream. I don't think. Oh, piddle off, stupid voice meter advert. Okay, so the point being, okay, so this is going back to 2013, and you wouldn't believe it from the feminist hysteria of the last 6 years, but according to this, back in 2013, women were succeeding more than men. Okay. Now, the first thing to point out, as the excellent Janice Fiamengo, Tom Golden, and Paul Elam pointed out, one of the reasons women are achieving in things like education is positive, as in not positive, discrimination, preferential treatment. Oh, what a surprise! If you get preferential treatment, you do better. Well, who'd thunk of that? That is, women are not doing it solely on their own merits as a group, but because they've got men to let them. And then they go, oh, look at us, aren't we brilliant? No, you've had assistance.
But isn't that always how it goes? I mean, the one thing that they're talking about, well, men had always dominated women. Even if that were true, it's only true if they actually did, which is disputable altogether. But even in their own argument, men did better than women. Okay, so now women are doing better. Yeah, but why are women doing better? Because men are helping them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like...
So they're not doing better.
No, exactly. This is my whole point. In British politics, they have to have all women shortlists.
Yeah.
But the other point, and this is my main point I wanted to have a go is, for women, get to discuss, are men obsolete? Now, I don't want to be picky. Because I love being picky. But the whole feminist argument for 40 years, probably longer, but this is how long I've been aware of it, has been men are not allowed to talk about women.
Yeah, that's been longer.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's a constant. Men can't tell women what to do. Men can't tell women what to wear. Men can't tell women how to behave. Men can't. So what the fuck are 4 women doing talking about men? The fucking hypocrites.
It's even worse, because even if we go back in time to the time when feminism didn't really exist, women were not financially responsible.
Yeah.
Men were.
Yeah.
But if women raised debts, men had to pay for them. So this is the thing. Women have always been a protected class, if you want to, and men were always the how do you call it? The scapegoat.
Mm-hmm.
I think scapegoat is a good word, and they always seem to ignore this. I mean, you're from Great Britain. England has many a story of rich women marrying poor men, and then racking up debts, and then they are not paying it. And the man is responsible for it, but he can't pay it because his wife is rich, but he's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he goes to jail.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I mean, here's the thing. Every single one of the foundational tenets of feminism is a lie. There is not a single truth among them.
Could you share the article, by the way? Could you share your screen, please?
What? You don't want to watch the stream?
Well, I am watching the stream as well, but then if something...
No. Well, no, it's not an article. It's not an article. This is a video, and I've literally read the only thing from it I wanted to read, which is this description.
Okay.
It's not an article. It was a video, and we didn't see the video particularly. All we heard was the esteemed trio talking about it. But my interest was this hypocrisy. Because, as I say, we hear nothing but women telling men how to be. The whole toxic masculinity debate is women telling men how to be. And yet for 40 years at least, because that's my limit of my experience, women have insisted men have no place telling them anything.
But yeah, as I said, I mean, are we surprised feminists being...
I'm not. No. Okay, I just want to make the point Not whether I'm surprised, not whether it's new. I just wish to make the point.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, you're correct.
Oh, jeez.
You're correct.
Oh, there we go. But yes, no, and that was it really. It was just, I'm sick and tired of this hypocrisy, this, blatant unself-awareness where they will do. Oh, I've got a nice thingy because yes. Okay, so. Oh, jeez, stupid screens. So, is there anything you'd wanted to talk about today, young man?
Well, in all fairness, I totally forgot the time and I was tired as hell, so I wanted to go to bed and then I realized, fuck, it's Saturday.
Well, I've been trying to contact you for hours, so...
Yeah, I had most of my stuff turned off already because I was planning on going to bed.
Yeah, well, this was hours ago, so you had your stuff turned off hours ago.
Yeah, but I've been planning on going to bed for quite a while, but I'm not the fastest tool like that.
Well, no, there's not fast, and then it takes several hours.
Yeah, I know. But, I mean, Skype, I don't think I have Skype turned on.
No, I didn't connect to you on Skype. I only connected to you on Discord.
Yeah, I didn't have Discord on. So yeah, there is that. No, I'm seriously to blame, people. I'm sorry. Thanks.
No, hey, guess what? I don't believe in blame culture, so don't care. Okay.
Well, that's a good
not
thing.
Important. It's not important. The show, such as it is, will go on.
That's true. And
okay.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to look into the whole. How do you call this? Global warming BS at the moment.
Okay.
And I'm thinking about. I'm not really active, neither on YouTube, Dutch or English. I'm not really active.
Okay.
But I'm thinking about several topics. For example, did you know that Can you remember in the 70s, the politicians that had this full is full mentality?
Had this
I'm
what?
sure England had one.
Had this what?
Yeah, the country is full. The full is full. The country is full. There's no more room for.
In the 70s?
Yes, in the 70s, 80s.
No, I don't.
They were pretty much against immigration and all that.
Well, the problem is we've always had people who have been against immigration, but
well, in the Netherlands we had the Centrum Democraten, which was a party that was very much against getting in foreigners.
Okay.
People are constantly saying, well, this is negative and this is incorrect and blah, blah, blah. Cordon sanitaire in Belgium to prevent people like that from talking. And you know what? I can understand it in a way. Whether I agree or not is not even the point. But now the funny thing, the Netherlands has a building stop. We're not allowed to build new houses in the Netherlands because there's too much nitrous oxide in the air.
Huh?
How much nitrous oxide is there in the air? Well, the same as it has been for the last few hundred years, but because of new laws and etc., etc., etc.
Sorry. Why is the level of nitrous oxide linked to the number of houses you can build?
Literally, the amount of dust in the air is linked to whether you're allowed to build a house, which is funny because on the Dutch coast, you are not allowed to build any houses because the amount of dust in the air is too high, which is 100% because of the sea and because of the beach, but still. I'm not going to say it makes sense. None of the environmental... Listen, if they're going to tell me we made an environmental law to prevent people from living close to toxic fumes or whatnot, then yeah, you know what?
I thought you were about to say toxic threads, and I thought, why? What's wrong with Utah?
No, but I mean, in those cases, I'm completely on board. No, we are now paying taxes for carbon dioxide, which is lower than water vapor, and water vapor has a bigger blah blah blah. Are we going to pay for that? No. Nitrous oxide. I think stickstoff is nitrous oxide. Yeah? I have to let me check the name for a second because before I make a
I don't actually care. I don't actually care what it is. I just care how the building of houses has any impact on anything. You have a number of people, right? Those people need to live. They need to live in houses.
I know.
Does atmospheric gas composition have anything to do with that?
Because it's an health issue, isn't it? Because it's too much something or other. No, it's not nitrous oxide, it is nitrogen.
No, I'm sorry. No, because you talk about building houses.
It doesn't matter what we're talking about, mate. The air is not good enough, so you're not allowed to build in an area because the air is not good enough.
Right, okay. In an area because the houses.
I thought it was nitrogen, not nitrogen oxide. Well, never mind.
Nitrogen is a natural component, the major component of air.
Yeah. Stickstoff. Yeah, it's what, 20% or something more of air.
If we were so upset about nitrogen, why do we put so many nitrates onto our fields as fertilizers?
It's even funnier because the Netherlands is by far the best kid in the class in Europe when it comes to keeping the environment clean. But we're right next to Germany, which is the biggest polluter of Europe. So no matter what we do, we're not going to manage.
Well, yeah.
I have to move my boom again because my mic.
Anyway, pardon me, but I am utterly bored with this. So, as Anxious Aussie did in an excellent video about that trolling of AOC, there is a brain dead side who can be trolled into any position, no matter how
Yeah, but
disgusting
let me
and
finish my
absurd.
point, though. Let
Sorry?
me finish my point, though, because it really gets funny. Because the Netherlands has a problem with living spaces. We don't have enough houses, apparently.
Yeah.
But they want to bring in more foreigners. Okay, fair enough. But they're not allowing the building of new houses.
Yeah.
Basically, government is now saying full is full.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, foreigners can come, but we don't have any places to put them up.
Yeah.
And we're not allowed to build new places.
Yeah. And as I say, none of this has given one iota of evidence as to why you shouldn't build houses.
You shouldn't build houses because they said you shouldn't.
No,
Boom,
that's what I'm
there's
saying. No. But you started off by saying it was because of the levels of atmospheric gases, and I still don't understand the connection.
That's the reason they're giving. I'm not saying the reason makes sense, but that's the reason they're given. You're not allowed to build houses because of pollution and atmospheric gases, and there's too much dust in the air. I'm not saying it makes sense.
There's too much dust in the air.
Yes.
Only from building houses, not any other activity.
No, yeah, well, basically, yes. Fine dust, they call it. Or there's another word for it. Let me think if I can remember it. I can't remember now. Fine dust. Fine stuff. I think there was another word, but I can't remember it. Sorry. And yes, Anxious Aussie, I saw the clip, but I'm pretty sure that girl was trolling or mentally disabled. But my money is on.
It doesn't matter. It wasn't about what she said. It was about the reaction or lack of reaction in the room as she was speaking. Now, no, Modwain, you consider anything that could be termed right wing, right? And how quickly the mob reacts hysterically there and then. And yet they just sat and absorbed it.
In all fairness, you could see that AOC really had a problem with it. She didn't say anything, but you could her non-verbal signs were very clear. She actually grabbed her neck.
Yes, I know. But the point is the very fact that the audience, it's not her. It's not her. It's the audience. The rest of the audience just sat and listened to it. Whereas if they detected anything they could have associated as right wing, they'd have been on their feet screaming and howling.
Maybe, but most of these, I mean, let's be honest, most of the people in that conference were, well, it's not even a conference, but that talking place, most of them were women. Women tend not to go stand up and howl and screech unless
you are so funny.
You're not letting me finish today, are you?
Have you not seen any of the footage of the bloody left-wing crazy women of the last few years?
You're not letting me finish.
No, I don't, because I'm laughing at what you said.
Basically, these women are sitting in a conference hall, or whatever you want to call it, or hall, and they assume that they are agreeing with one another, so they will listen to each other. And none of them feels comfortable to speak out against their own, and there lies the problem.
Exactly. Exactly. You're making my point for me.
I mean, it's not something you can blame on AOC.
I didn't. How many times have I got to say it wasn't AOC? It was the audience. If you listen to my actual words, you won't then contradict me by actually saying what I had literally just said. I said it isn't about AOC or her reaction. It was about the rest of the room. Literally what I said.
Even the rest of the room, I don't think they would have reacted any different because they can't.
What do you mean they wouldn't have? I am
Okay.
talking about their actual reaction and why it is
Yes.
such a problem. And
Yes.
you
Okay.
are disagreeing with me and then literally making all my points for me.
No. I'm still disagreeing with you because I don't think that the people in the room would have acted any different,
What do you mean
unless
would? I'm not talking would, I'm talking did.
wouldn't. The people in the room acted the way they would because they thought the person
Did, not
speaking.
would. Did.
Oh, John, finishing a sentence, please. The people in the audience let the person talk because they assumed she was on their side.
Mm-hmm. And that's
It's
my
it's
point.
it's it's the how do you call it? It's a beehive mentality.
Yes, and
Once
that is
you're
my point. So why are you saying you disagree with me?
No, I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm saying I'm not surprised, but I'm not blaming the audience for it either.
I am. I am.
Yeah, but
I'm
the
saying
reason why.
that group reaction, predictable or not, is the exact problem.
But at the same time, the reason that the group reacts like that is because it's a group. That's the whole thing with group. How do you call it?
Yes.
Group.
And this is what's wrong with the group as a whole, which is why I stated repeatedly and at the start that it was the reaction of the crowd that is the problem.
No, I don't think it's the reaction
Yes,
of the
I know
crowd.
you don't think, but that's not the point.
The point is that the people that responded like that at that point in time, or didn't respond like that, did so because they were in the situation.
Yes,
The
I
problem
know.
is the problem is that then people started talking about it, and instead of actually talking about it, they are talking about whether it is or not a troll, or whether it is or not a joke or a show.
Sorry, when you say people, is this the same
Well, the media,
singular hive mind person that the rest of the world is made up of? Because I don't believe in that hive mind.
the
There are
media.
many commentators whose focus was that. And why would their focus be that? Because the mainstream media and the left wing propagandists want to distract away from the problematic reaction of that particular audience.
Yes, though I would rather say let's talk about. And it's the reason why this is problematic to me is not because the audience did that, but because the audience felt that they had to do that.
Um, that's a distinction without a meaning.
No, actually, it's quite a big distinction because people seem to forget that humans are herd animals.
No. Okay. I know humans are herd animals, but you're saying the problem wasn't that they reacted like that, it's that they thought they had to react like that. But they're
Yeah.
literally exactly the same thing.
No, they're not.
They are because they reacted like that because they thought they had to react like that. They are literally the same thing. And you're saying, oh, you can't criticize the crowd. You can criticize that they thought they had to react like that. Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it might be a distinction that is
No, but you're missing my
very.
point. You're missing my point. The thing
Or
you're
you're
saying no to me to, but it's this, is the thing, the this, that why they thought they had to, is what I'm criticizing.
You were criticizing that they didn't respond, that they didn't react.
Because they felt they couldn't. It's the whole dynamic I am criticizing.
Okay, well, then I didn't understand you. I'm sorry.
I keep trying to tell you that you were saying something that was the same thing.
The point is, though, I mean, I'm not criticizing the people in there. It's.
I am. I am.
Yeah, I'm not.
I am. Because
I can.
When you are in a group and that group behaves a particular way consistently over time, you have a free choice to analyze that group and leave it. But they don't.
I understand what you're saying, but I really think you're calculating or misunderstand what peer pressure can do.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
It's
You're saying you recognise the problem of why they felt they couldn't react, which means that they already knew how they are expected to behave in the group, which means that they are capable of conscious thought about the group they are in and their expected behavior within it. That is
well,
what I'm
actually,
criticising.
I think Anxious made a very good point. Yeah? Every single one of them is part of a mob, and
Yeah,
they're afraid to turn against the mob.
exactly. Just made my point for me again. They're part of a
No,
mob.
no,
They
no,
know
I
they
didn't.
are part of a mob. They know they are part of a mob, and yet they still choose to remain part of the
Oh,
mob.
see, and this is where I disagree with you. This is where I disagree with you. They know that they're part of an ideology. They know they're part of a group. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And they're afraid to turn against that group because they fear that they will be ostracized.
That was a
Don't
voluntary meeting. Nothing made them be
it
there.
doesn't matter.
Does matter.
No, John, it really doesn't matter. This is group dynamics 101. And that's the scary part. I 100% agree with you, but at the same time, this is why I can't blame the people in the room.
They had a choice. They didn't make
The
it.
question is not whether they had a choice.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Okay.
John, the thing is, and group dynamics is a scary thing. You know the saying. Yeah, the intelligence of a group of people is the average of the intelligence of the individual divided by the number of people in the group. That's how scary it is. People can be forced to do things in a mob that they would individually never support. And they fear the mob. They fear to go against the mob because they were part of the mob. It's a very strong person that can be an individual in a mob.
Yes.
We
But you don't have to be in the mob. You can be elsewhere.
But when you are, you are. If
I know, which is my point about they didn't have to be at the meeting.
Yeah, but that's an argument without an argument. They're
It's
there.
not an argument without an argument. It is precisely the point. It is the point I am trying to make, and you're then.
Yeah, but it's not. John,
look, you're just saying everything I say. It's fine.
No, not everything, but in this case,
everything I say, you just like I say something, you say, "I disagree," or it's more, or it's every single fucking time, and then you end up agreeing with 90% of what I'm saying.
No, listen. I understand. A moment ago, maybe I misunderstood you, but in this case, I am very adamant. In this case, I see.
You're not agreeing with. You don't understand my point. So how can you be adamant you don't agree with it?
Because you think that they could have been somewhere else, therefore they should have acted differently. But they were there.
No, I didn't say that.
But it was your argument.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. They could have been somewhere else, so they should have acted differently. I said they could have been somewhere else. They needn't have been there. They could have recognised the mob mentality and chosen to renounce the mob by simply absencing themselves from it.
Okay. And once again, you misunderstand the idea of what a mob does. Once you're there, you can't absent yourself from it because that means you ostracize yourself. This is the whole thing with peer pressure and group pressure.
It was a voluntary meeting. They didn't have to go.
It doesn't matter.
And you're saying it doesn't matter. So you're recognizing a different point than the one I'm making.
Yes, and this is the point I'm trying to make.
Okay,
I'm not
so
blaming.
That's fine. If you make one point, and I can discuss that, but you are disagreeing with my point while actually not even recognizing the point I'm making.
Okay, you know what? make your point again. See what I misunderstood. I'll try to listen to what you're saying, and I'll try to.
You changed the discussion I was having to say that they behave in a particular way because there's a group dynamic. Cool. You say it's the mob. Okay, fine. I accept that. I said over time. Okay, over time, not specific instance, but over time, when you are in a group which exhibits consistent behavior, you have a choice whether to go along with it or not. Now, this was a voluntary meeting. They didn't have to go. That there could have been an audience with 6 people in it.
But that doesn't make a difference because none of them expected someone to sit there and talk about how they should eat.
No.
That's not why they were there.
Oh, for goodness sake! And then so the minute I make a point, you switch the goalpost and make it about something else.
No, listen. Are we talking about how the people responded to the girl talking about how they should eat babies? Yes or no?
Sorry, I'm reading one of that's here. Look, I make a point. You then make it about everything except for what I want to talk about. That's fine. Okay? You want to make a point, and I agree with you about the point about mob dynamics. But the point is, in a society, when you have a situation like that, you don't have to participate. You can look at a group, say it's Antifa. If you think, oh, the way Antifa behaves is a problem, don't be part of Antifa. Just don't go to the events.
If you really think it's that simple, I'm sorry, you're wrong.
Okay.
There is a thing called peer pressure.
I know.
It's actually a thing.
I know. Okay, do you hear the words? I know. I'm agreeing with you.
But how can you say I know and then still say, but yeah, you could do differently?
Because
if it were so simple,
you are oversimplifying the dynamics of peer pressure. You haven't explained the particular constraints for something like going to a voluntary AOC town hall of your own volition and free will and peer pressure.
The fact that they're all going there means that they have a connection with the group. Yeah? That's why they're going there. That's the peer pressure. It's like when someone says, okay, you know what, next Saturday we're going to do blah 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 blah. And everyone assumes that everyone comes. Then you have to be very strong to say, I'm not going.
Really?
Really.
Okay, maybe I'm just too much of an individualist to understand that concept.
I think you are. And I understand you are. And I'm not blaming you for that. Listen, this is something I've spent all my life trying to understand. Because for a long time, I was one of the people that was set in the group. And then I realized that I could start my own group. So I started an own group of people, and we still had the same things. This is why I'm so dead set against echo chambers. Because peer pressure is not something that only happens when everyone is together. Even when you're at home and they're somewhere else, you're still your mind, your mentality is still with them. So if something happens, you're going to identify with them. This is why most of the people that were even looking at home and saw the girl talking about how to eat babies, even though they might have been disgusted on the inside, did not speak out because, hey, you know what? Didn't someone else just say that eating humans was not a bad idea either? Maybe this is the next step. I might not agree. This is something we need to discuss, but I'm not going to wave it offhand. Peer pressure is a very scary thing. Peer pressure caused world wars. I'm sorry, John. I cannot overestimate the value of peer pressure in this. It's really scary. And you could see, if you looked at the clip, I saw the clip, and I could see AOC. She was absolutely, she couldn't do anything. She was gobsmacked. It's peer pressure is a scary thing, and this is why groups like Antifa are so goddamn dangerous. But at the same time, things like Patriot Prayer aren't 100% safe either. Because as soon as a group leader stands up and says, okay, let's do something crazy, you end up with, what's the name? The guy that killed all his followers by drinking lemonade. Was it Jones?
Yeah.
Peer pressure is one of the scariest things out there. No way that we can underestimate how dangerous this is. Why would you go for the juggler? I mean, come on. Clowns don't have jugglers.
No, it's a joke.
Yes, I know. It's juggler.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm saying clowns don't have jugglers.
It's a joke. Just go with the joke, Modwain.
But funny enough, this is kind of what we were talking about last Wednesday as well, when we talk about how difficult it is to be an individual. And
unless you're a born individualist, and then it's really hard to be part of a group.
True. But
no, okay, right. So my point is this. You're saying you can't blame the people, okay? I'm saying I can blame the people. Why am I saying I can blame the people? Because the mob mentality persists. The mentality itself comes from somewhere. It persists for some reason. There is an aspect to it which makes it the way it is and not another way.
Well, at this point in time, nothing really happened. So I am going to say you can't. I mean, none of them stood up and started eating babies.
No, that wasn't the point about them eating babies. It was about their reaction to what you said and their lack of disgust response.
But the lack
Talking of eating babies should stimulate an automatic disgust response in any reasonable human being.
Humans would do that. And yet still, there have been academics talking about it.
Yeah, well, we know that if you want something really stupid saying, find an academic.
Yeah, fair enough. But the point is not so much that people did not create that disgusted response at that point.
That's my point. That's the point I want to make. That's the point. The whole reason I brought it up was that this lack of disgust response, when the same crowd would have immediately evinced a disgust response in response to anything that could have been perceived as racist or sexist.
Mm-hmm.
And that is my point. And whether you point at individuals and say, you individuals, the point is that as a crowd, they didn't react. And that is what I found to be the problem.
No,
whether
I disagree.
Whether you can blame it on mob dynamics or individuals is irrelevant. It's the mob response I am complaining about.
The mob did respond, though. They just didn't respond in the way you think people should have responded. And I'm 100%.
Okay, fine. So I use an inexact term. But the point is the way they responded was what bothered me.
Yeah, well, I saw what I saw from that response to me. I mean, it didn't surprise me at all, and I'm not even
surprised.
I'm not even negative towards. I'm not even negative towards the people because they did respond in an appropriate manner because they weren't. Yeah, they did because they did. They responded gobsmacked.
And
Which,
yet they
in
can
all,
immediately call out the most
yeah,
trivial of non-offensive shit, but they can't call out proposing eating babies. I'm sorry, I don't agree.
yes, I know you don't agree, but you also don't understand, John. I'm sorry.
Mm, don't
Do
tell
you
me
know
I
how?
don't understand.
Well, I just did,
Yeah, I know
and
that.
I'm standing by that. Listen, for a group, even with a group of peer pressure, you
I'm
do
not
not turn.
saying
John,
why.
let me please finish.
No, you
Let,
made
let,
a
let me,
point, and I want to respond to that
no,
point
I'm
before
trying
you
to
go
make a
on.
different point now because I'm
Yes,
trying
and
to
now
make
you
a
want to
point.
make a different point. So can I respond to the point you've already made? Then you can make a different point.
Didn't you already respond to that one?
No, no,
Oh, okay. Go on then. Sorry, then I missed it.
no. You're talking about the dynamics of a group, right? And you're saying you can't blame the people. The mob mentality means they must conform to the mob behavior. Fine, okay. And I'm
No, that's not.
saying that's not what
Okay,
you're
go on.
saying.
No, that's not really what I'm saying. No.
So what are you saying? Because that's what I
And that's
heard.
why I'm trying to clarify. It's very difficult for a group of people, for a mob, to turn on itself. So the very strongest reaction you can get is the one that we got. People were gobsmacked. People were like, oi, this is a bit too far. None of them actually spoke out against it because they didn't know if the rest of the group would agree with them. But the fact that they were all gobsmacked proves that they were agreeing with each other. Give it time, and the group will stand up and say, okay, this is going too far. Give it time on the other side that people start pushing the idea that, oh, no, no, this is acceptable, then we have a problem. But no one is coming out with the story that this is acceptable. The group was gobsmacked. This is a very strong response. Usually, it only takes one person in a group to push the group over an edge. This is not one person, but the group didn't get pushed over the edge. The group was like, no, 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 this is a bridge too far. Even AOC was gobsmacked. This is a bridge too far. To me, that's a positive reaction.
Okay.
But
Well, I fundamentally disagree with the acceptability of both the group and AOC's response. I'm just going to leave it at that because that's just my
okay,
opinion.
fair enough. Well, at least I'm going to assume that we both agree that we totally disagree with the whole thing about eating humans and eating babies.
Well, yeah, exactly. That is
Yeah.
my premise. My premise is that any right minded person to invoke such a thing, the man on the Clapham omnibus, to use British legal jargon, would find the very notion of eating people, live or dead, Soylent Green, Mr. Swedish academic,
Indeed.
unacceptable.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you. And I think that having seen the clip, I think the people in the audience agree with you on that one. And with me, in all fairness. But they didn't dare speak out. But the fact that they were gobsmacked, the fact that they held their breath and like, what the fuck is happening here?
Yeah, and my point is that they daren't speak out, to me, was the problem. That the group is so toxic that even such a reprehensible suggestion left people feeling unable to speak out. This is my primary point. That it was the reaction or lack of it that I have the issue with. Not
But
with
there is some,
AOC specifically, but the mob in general.
you in
And
this case,
you're saying you don't blame the people. I'm saying I do.
yeah. Well, okay.
Or the mob mentality, the ideology, the thing they have all bought into, which can pillory huge proportions of their proportion a huge proportion of the population for their skin color and their sex, but cannot find it reprehensible to the point of outrage and this visible remonstration when someone talks about eating babies.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to share something, and I hope you can. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Come here. Let's share that one. And where are you? There you are. I'm going to
Okay.
share this.
Hang on, I'm just going to stick it over here so that the world can see it. And two ticks, two ticks. I just need to change this so that that becomes. Go on, go on. There you go. There you go. Transition.
This
There
is
you
an
go.
image.
No, hang on,
This
hang on, hang on. Right, okay. Now I'm sharing it. So,
how it's an image that people have often shared, and people always say, "Be this guy." And I'm 100% sure, John, that you're going to be one of those guys. I don't even mean that in a positive or negative way. Purely factual. I'm 100% willing to believe that you could be that guy.
mhm.
I I can be that guy. I'll try to do my best. But most people in the world cannot be that guy.
I know, and we know why they can't be that guy.
This is peer pressure.
No, it's not just peer pressure. Not just peer pressure. It is also some evolved behaviour within the individual. It is the peer pressure is a feedback loop.
No, it's not.
It is a feedback loop.
No, it's not.
It is
Okay.
because if everyone else is applying the pressure, how does it generate if no one feels that way to begin with?
But no one is applying pressure. That's the whole thing. Peers groups move in certain ways, and
Then it's not peer pressure, it's misnamed.
well, yeah, okay. Maybe it's misnamed. I'm sorry.
Group conformity, perhaps, but the point is, group conformity, peer pressure, whatever, can only operate if someone generates the direction.
No, that's not true.
And you're saying that's
That
not true.
that's the scary part.
So
That's
who
not how peer.
steers it? How does it steer?
And that's the scary part. Most of the time, peer pressure doesn't get steered. And that's why I'm so happy with what I saw, because there was someone in the audience saying something really stupid, and nearly everyone got gobsmacked. So at that point in time, even though peer pressure stopped them from talking out, every single one of them was like, this is a bridge too far. But that's how peer pressure pushes, because you have a group of people, and then they all start with the idea that, you know what, 3 is a magic number. Let's completely stupid example. 3 is a magic number. Everyone in the group believes 3 is a magic number. Okay, we all believe 3 is a magic. But then all of a sudden, a few people in the group say, yeah, but 6 is twice as magic as 3.
Mm-hmm.
If the group doesn't stand up and say, no, 3 is a magic number, they will move to the next goal, which is 6 is a magic number.
Not necessarily. This is where I think your description is overly simplistic.
Yeah, it is overly simplistic, obviously, but
No, because here's my point. For the group to have views or shift views, somebody, and there are people who are more influential in the group than others. Somebody has to direct that opinion, because
no.
if no, they do. Okay, not consciously, but if AOC says something, it is much more likely to take on agreement in the group than if a wacko in the audience says something. You just recognise that.
I
You just
agree.
recognise that. So this is my point: is that it is not.
And had AOC agreed in any way, then I would have 100% agreed with you that this is a scary thing.
No, I'm
but
not
she got
saying that.
just like the rest of them.
I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
You are so missing my point.
Okay, what's your point then?
The one I started with. The very inability as a group to react in a way one would consider reasonable for a statement of such, such.
Okay, reasonable by whom's standards?
So you're saying that if you just went into a random location, said out loud, I think we should eat babies, there wouldn't be an immediate unanimous negative response.
Again, what standards? There are plenty of places I can think.
General societal standards in general society did not accept or to want to eat babies.
Yes. But the whole thing that's going on isn't about things being general at the moment, are they?
Oh, jeez.
And she said this not in a general assembly. She said this in an assembly of people who like to think themselves progressive.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying that you think progressives think it's okay to eat babies?
Actually, no, I don't think they think
Thank
that.
you. So why are you saying whose standards? I'm talking about eating babies. Surely an almost universal human standard, is it not? And note, I said almost. To allow for the caveats of cannibals and psychopaths.
I'm sorry, John, but we're going around in circles. I can't make you understand peer pressure. It seems. I'm sorry.
No, you are, but you're not describing it very well. I understand dynamics of peer pressure, but that's not the point. That wasn't the point I was making. I'm not making the point of how peer pressure operates. I make the point that the dynamics of that particular group could not react in a way I would consider reasonable. Now, you can agree with me. This is an opinion. And as an opinion, it belongs to me, no one else. You can agree with it, disagree with it, but it has nothing to do with peer pressure.
Okay. I think it does, though.
Yeah, fine. But as I say, you are missing my entire point fundamentally, and that's fine.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Then I miss your point. And peer pressure is not eating babies. No, it's not. But if you get a group of people, and indeed toxic, this is why I was so happy with what I saw, because people were gobsmacked, because no one agrees with eating babies. But unfortunately, and this is the other side of the story, so eating dead people is okay? Because this is now what's happening. Someone says one, then someone says two, then someone says five. Five is too far. Okay, so we're stuck at two. This is the whole danger of mob. This is the danger of peer pressure. So there's definitely something dangerous about it, but I'm happy that they got gobsmacked. Because if anything, it shows babies is one too far. I would say it's five too far, but at least it's one too far. But I'm pretty sure the person is either a troll or someone with mental issues. But my money is troll.
Well, as Anxious Aussie stated many comments ago, they have been traced to a particular right-wing conservative group. So in that context, yes, and we know that who that person is and why they did it. But that's not the point. The point is when you troll people like this, as with the free bleeding or whatever, you do so as to expose the people you are targeting.
Yeah.
And that, in my opinion, was highly successful. And the motivation of the person, whether they were trolling or not, is irrelevant. Because just because this person said it in a trolling way doesn't mean somebody else somewhere wasn't thinking exactly the same thing legitimately.
That's why I'm saying that they were not successful. Because the group did fall silent. They were gobsmacked. So I don't think
your reading of the reaction is very different to mine, which was my point.
Yeah, I don't think anyone in that group, anyone in the room, agreed with it.
No. It's the optics of it. I'm responding to the optics of it. Okay. You have a different view of the optics, and I'm saying I saw in the optics something that I found horrendous in that group.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion. As I say, it's an opinion. It's how I view them.
Free bleeding is not a troll; it's just foul.
No,
Yes,
but
it is.
but it happened because of trolling.
Yeah, but they picked it up because that's how stupid
Yeah, that's what I'm
feminists are.
saying, because they were trolling. They were like, oh, here's a stupid idea. Let's see if we can get the feminists to take it on. If we just dress it up. It's like the whole grievance study hoax papers. It was, let's find some obnoxious ideas, like a chapter out of Mein Kampf, and dress it up for feminist consumption and watch them lap it up and say how good it is.
Yeah. But this is kind of funny because if you look at, there are other troll examples. I mean, another great one was "It's okay to be white." The moment is Islam is right about women. These are great trolling things that are being pushed out and prove the stupidity of peer pressure. Funny
Yeah,
enough,
exactly.
because
And that's precisely my point about the merits of this particular case. Is
yeah,
that it was successful in showing the reaction.
yeah, but I'm seeing something else in the reaction than you apparently see, because what
Yeah,
I
that's
saw
what
in
I'm
the
saying. That's what I'm saying. You and I see a different reaction. That is not a
yeah.
problem, okay? That is life. We all perceive the same events differently. And I'm giving you my opinion.
But yeah, it's. Oh, what are you doing, baby?
Getting,
What are you doing?
getting bedroom a little bit warm.
Oh, okay. I don't think you have to. I think it's really warm upstairs.
No.
Okay. But yeah, no, it's. I wonder how long it will take for New Zealand Senate to vote Islam is right about women. Well, the New Zealand Senate, I'm sorry. I don't know if anyone here is from New Zealand. I know Anxious is close by, but luckily far enough away.
Do not accuse an Australian of being a Kiwi.
No, I'm not. I'm merely
That is
saying
nearly
she's
as bad
close
as
by.
calling a Scot English.
But yeah. Can you imagine to take away the rights of your own citizens because someone from a different country broke the law? I can't even get there. But okay. And yeah, it was trolling. It is the next step to "It's okay to be white," and we're going to see more of it.
Sorry, can I just respond to Michael Keller? So he says, me too, anxious Aussie. We need more such trolling like the Islam is right about women thing. So I facetiously said, you call that trolling? Meaning, what's trolling about a true statement?
Yeah, well,
And he said it was trolling. Yeah, I know, but it is also a true statement.
it is a true statement, but it is also trolling. And why is it trolling? Because it's something people don't want to think about.
As are the Welsh, anxious Aussie. As are the Welsh.
So, yeah. And maybe that's why Muslims feel so at home in New Zealand. I mean, from sheep to goat, it's only a small step.
Well, you know, sheep rearing is a biblical. What's the word? It's a theme in the Bible, isn't it? You know, all the shepherds, David, and
Yeah, okay, but you're not really supposed to do anything with them like that.
sorry.
The Bible might be talking about sheep, but you're not really supposed to do anything strange with them.
Hey, you telling me that a shepherd up there on the mountain with his typical male sex drive is never going to get tempted? No, none of the shepherds are going to get tempted. Of course they are.
Well, I mean, I'm not a shepherd, but if I were to find myself in that position, I wouldn't. But that's probably just me. I don't know, though. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, I've got two perfectly functioning hands. What do I need an animal for?
Actually, Richard, you're missing the point because it's also the ultimate catch-22 the other way, because they can either vote for Islam or vote for women, but not both. So it's not just a catch-22 one way, it's a catch-22 both ways.
Yeah, either way.
And to be quite honest, no what, anxious Aussie. Trouble is it's something I said 30 seconds ago. What's that music?
Oh, yeah, if you hear some music, that could be from my end. One of my neighbors is having a party in the yard, celebrating the last days of the early days of autumn. I don't know, someone's birthday or something. It's not that loud, but yeah.
But yeah, no, I've got no problem. I have no problem voting for those parts of Islam which attack the whole progressive notion of, sex ed of young children that is utterly inappropriate, and, no lonely shepherds. Of course there are lonely shepherds. Look, you don't want to think about it, but
yeah, that kind of says it all. That you don't want to think about it. To me, anyway. I mean, I can't see.
All I'm saying is that stories of sex and Middle Eastern animals seem very common. Camels come to mind. There's a joke about the camel. Have you heard the joke about the camel?
No.
Okay, so a guy joins the Foreign Legion. The Foreign Legion being basically... good night, Ludicrous.
Oh, Ludicrous already leaving. Okay, good night, mate.
Yeah, so the guy joins the Foreign Legion, and they're stuck out there in this training camp in the desert. And a soldier is assigned to the new recruit to show him the ropes, and he says, we do get horny from time to time. So, and the guy says, "Oh, what do you do? What do you do?" He says, "Well, and he points to the camel. You see." So
I know the one.
Yeah, you know the one.
The rest might not. Go on.
So the guy goes, "Oh shit, no, that's disgusting. No, there's no way." And so he's there, and for a week, and he's like, "No, I might be feeling a bit in need of relief, but no, that's just too far." And the next week, and every week he just weakens a little bit, and then after months and months stuck out there in the middle of nowhere, he goes, I've just got to do something." And so he starts shagging the camel. And then the bloke who Richard Swan comes to, he says, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" He says, "Well, you pointed to the camel." I said, "Yeah, you ride it to the local town."
Yep, I knew it. But yeah, I know that joke with a military observer, not a rookie. Well, yeah.
It doesn't really matter. I mean, it's somebody who doesn't know what's going on and misunderstands the instruction.
Yeah.
That's the point.
If you do it to your goat, you have to kill it.
And sell it to you on the next village. Well, there you go. So
No,
someone offers you a goat on the cheap, you know it's been fucked.
No, you're not allowed to sell it, I think. You have to kill it. It has to be killed.
Yeah, and sell it. Or sell it.
As far as I know, it's only killing, but okay. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense anyway. I can't understand how people would want to do that. As I said, I've got two perfect hands. What the hell is wrong with them?
Sorry?
What? Sorry, what?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were having trouble typing again.
No. So yeah, there is that. But so yeah.
So having utterly lowered the tone, thank you. I will take your plaudits. And we have been doing an hour.
Well, you have. I mean, I haven't been here.
Okay, so Richard, okay. The ex-Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, not Theresa May, but David Cameron, was part of the Bullingdon Club in Oxford, which is a student organisation of ill repute. And it is reported that the initiation ceremony meant fucking a dead pig. And this was in the news in Britain for a little while.
Did people actually believe it, though?
Well, it might even be true. This is the problem. No one knows.
But I'm sorry. I mean,
no wonder chlamydia spreads. I mean, the bloody koalas are covered in chlamydia. You just have to pick one up and you get it.
That was a koala brothel bust. What's a koala brothel? I mean,
and they're only little. I've seen them. They're only little.
So, I mean, or is that a brothel that had koalas running around as well?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, really?
Sam suddenly finds that funny.
Yes, well, it is, and I agree with Anxious earlier. Anxious also, koalas have very large claws. I mean, I think the word was drop bear, I think I once heard. So, yeah, no, they look cute, but I've always been told that out of all the animals that want to kill you in Australia, koalas are the friendliest looking.
Yeah, well, that's because snakes, crocodiles, and spiders don't look cute.
Yes, but they would still kill you if given a chance, it seems.
Would they?
Well, as I said, out of all the animals that tried to kill you, koalas are the best looking. So then that would mean that they would still want to kill you. I don't know. I mean, and the other koalas are not the Johns. Okay.
Hey, don't you bring me into this? I've never wanted to use a house of ill repute in my life.
But
drop bears only attack foreigners. You mean they look for the corks on the hat, and if you've got corks in the hat, they leave you alone.
Yeah, you know what I'm thinking? It's not so much that they would leave you alone when you have corks on your head. No. Foreigners actually walk under drop bears. Australian people realize not to do that, I assume. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I'm sure there's enough city dwellers in Australia who know nothing about the perils of the indigenous wildlife.
Yeah, that could be true too.
No, it's very likely. I mean, you've got to consider, right? Okay, in the UK, which has a large, what's the word? Not arable, the other sort of agriculture where we have livestock, sheep, cows, pigs, those sorts of things, right? We have a large portion of our agriculture devoted to the raising and eating of animals, right? And yet there are still children in our cities who don't know that beef comes from a cow, or pork from a pig, or lamb from a sheep.
But in all fairness, that I blame on the educational system.
No, I'm not disputing that. I'm not placing blame. I'm merely stating, therefore, it wouldn't surprise me if Australian citizens living in cities might not always be aware of the risks of walking under your koalas. That's what I'm saying.
Well, you could be correct on that one. It's like that song from, what was the band? Presidents of the United States? Peaches come from a can.
Yeah, exactly. Ice cream from a tub.
Yep. Well, we don't need farmers. We've got supermarkets. Yeah, okay. which is actually quite one of the arguments that people use in periods of strife. I mean, a few days ago in the Netherlands, the farmers went on strike because of the nitrogen issue I talked about earlier. And there were actually, well, most people were okay with them. Most people had respect for the farmers striking. But there were actually people like, yeah, but we don't really need farmers anyway. I mean, we don't eat that much farmed. I mean, I'll just get my potatoes somewhere else. And I'm like, no, idiot. People are rather... but yeah, they can smell the Vegemite toast on city folk.
I think that's a joke, but never mind.
Yeah, it is a joke because that's why they don't drop on.
Yeah, but here's the thing, anxious Aussie. Given that Vegemite is a mere pale imitation of our original Marmite, and I eat Marmite, so I'd be safe too.
Marmite's made from meat, right?
No, it is not. It is a vegan product made from the waste of beer manufacture, yeast.
Right. And Vegemite is made from...
No, Vegemite literally is a copy of Marmite. I looked it up. It is a derivative product that is an imitation of Marmite.
I'll take your word for it. I can't remember ever having ate...
The Wikipedia article was quite clear, and if it says it on Wikipedia, it must be true.
I'll be sure to play some kind of Minogue at the koalas. I'm not sure, though. Do people actually get attacked by koalas on Anxious? You should know this. And, okay, it's a yeast product. Well, so is beer, so I'm not going to complain about that. Though a good beer, I can understand.
Yeah, everyone calls them prawns and not shrimp, Anxious. It's only the Americans who call prawns shrimp. Shrimp are the little ones to us. Prawns are the big ones. To Americans, it's the other way round. For some strange reason.
Prawns?
No, Marmite tastes lovely, and it is still the original, and Vegemite is still the pale imitation. Is Australian beer weaker than English beer? It depends on the brew. I mean, the main Australian exports, Foster's and Carling 4X, taste like piss. But then the main British beers that are equivalent taste like piss. So it's not a fair comparison.
That's weird, though, because if I look at Heineken in the Netherlands, the best Heineken are being exported. So that's weird.
No, that's not what I meant. No, anyway. That's not what I meant. What I mean is the mass, like in Britain, you've got your brewers, right? And you've got your big brewers who mass produce piss. And then you've got little breweries who make really nice beer. So they aren't the internationally exported beers because that's the mass-produced piss. And I say this as somebody whose family was heavily involved in said production of mass-produced piss in a brewery town.
Okay. But I know from Heineken, that this is why I brought it up. Heineken export beer is actually the best beer that they make.
No, as I say, I'm not talking about the varieties of our beer. I'm talking about the beer as a whole. So you take, I don't know, because I don't know about the different, presumably in the Netherlands, there are smaller brewers who make really nice beer. Are there? I mean, like other countries have them. Smaller specialist brewers who make really nice, top quality beer.
Yeah, we've in Belgium you have a lot of small breweries.
Yeah,
and,
in Belgium you do. In Britain you do. We have hundreds of small breweries and a few very large mass brewers. And the products of the very large mass brewers are generally dire. And the products of the smaller brewers, in order to survive, they have to be good, and so they tend to be very good.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the Netherlands has a few, but not so many. Or not so many that I know of, at least.
Yeah, but my point being is that if you really wanted a nice beer, you wouldn't go for Heineken, you'd go for one of the local specialists,
Mm-hmm.
as a general rule, in most places.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like in America. I've been to America, and we went to Busch Gardens. Busch Gardens, for those who don't know, is in Tampa, and it is attached to the Anheuser-Busch, that is Budweiser, brewery. And they gave away free Budweiser, which on a hot day is very nice of them. Okay. But then you can get all these specialist American beers like Samuel Adams, there's lots of others, and they are nice.
So you actually pay for your stuff rather than get the free one.
No, that's not what I mean. What I'm saying is but these little ones, your smaller brewers, really nice. Anheuser-Busch, as in Budweiser, or your Coors, or your Millers, piss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is. I don't know why that is. Well, I know why that is, by the way, because this is most international brewers started working. It's a numbers game, and Heineken was the first that started doing that. They started making large quantities, and then they had several vats, and one of the vat was really good, and one of the vat was okay-ish, and one of the vat was not so good, and then they just put the three together, mix it up, and bottle that. So then you have an okay-ish sort of beer.
Yeah. But funny thing is, you were talking, not Modwain, sorry, quick. You were talking about how Heineken export the good stuff.
Yeah.
There's actually an advert that Carlsberg Carlsberg are Danish, where they joke about exporting the crap stuff.
Okay.
I mean, it's just an advert they do in Britain. But it was like you've got Danish people with subtitles, and they're talking, and they're going, "Oh, there goes another thing," and then they're going, "Oh, thank God they won't have the good stuff."
Well, yeah, maybe.
No, I'm just saying that was their angle.
No, I actually, to me, it makes more sense to keep the good stuff at home. But yeah, no.
Well, at the end of the day, it's all about economics. Where can you get the biggest? How can you get the biggest income for the same amount of product?
Yeah.
If you export it and that brings in a greater revenue than exporting the poorer stuff, then that's what you do. And if it's the other way around, that's what you do. It's just economics.
Yeah, something is really going out. They're having a good time in the garden.
I was going to say someone's having fun.
Yeah. But yeah. No, but small brewers tend to have one or two vats, and it all has to be good. And if it's not, it's all going to waste. Literally.
Yeah.
I've been at the Hertog Jan Brewery in the Netherlands, in Limburg. And I was there when they actually had to dispose of a vat. People were pissed. They were really pissed.
Well, the funny thing is, there are uses you can make of things like a spoiled vat of beer. Vinegar. Malt vinegar.
Yeah, true. No, that's not what they did. They basically they flushed it.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's like.
Everyone was pissed. I mean, even people who had absolutely nothing to do with the process, they were really, really peeved about the fact that something went wrong. And even no one is blaming anyone, but they had a company pride that was really amazing. It's a good thing to have a company pride like that, to be honest.
Yeah. But I mean, I've been round a number of breweries. Going around breweries, as long as you don't have to drive afterwards, is great fun because they just give you as much beer as you can drink, pretty much. I'm not talking about the Busch Gardens Holland tourist thing. I'm talking about in Britain. As a member of CAMRA, the Campaign for Real Ale, we would organise brewery tours. And we'd go to a brewery for the evening and they'd show us around and how it's all made. And we wouldn't pay any attention until we got to the tap room, which is where they give the samples. And you go, "Way, this is fun."
Yeah. Well, it is. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
I've been to,
Anxious. You see, it's all good accounting. Don't waste not, want not. I'm a firm believer. Waste not, want not.
I've never heard anyone do that though. Turning a bad beer into that favourite cup.
That's because you Dutch don't have the imagination, it seems. You want to flush your bad beer away instead of finding a creative use for it.
Oh, well, there is a creative use for it. Look, the sewers have been cleaned.
Yeah. And the rats are happy.
And the rats are happy. Oh. So, yeah, there is that.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
must
no,
admit,
this
as
is-
much as I enjoy talking about beer, I like drinking it even more.
yeah. I used to enjoy good beer. I don't drink that much anymore. I think the last time was can't even remember when I last drank beer.
I can. It was about 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
My glass is empty, but I'm happy to wait. But yes.
Well, having a good beer.
Well, I'm one of the, you see, they come out with all this advice, right? And the advice seems to be there are certain alcohols which happen to be, fortunately for me, ones I like, red wine and beer, that in limited amounts are actually good for you to have regularly. It is actually better to have a glass of wine every day than be totally abstaining. That's what I've heard. But then they could change that tomorrow.
For an adult, and it starts roughly at the age of 24, 25, drinking one alcoholic drink a week is actually good for you.
A week?
Yeah.
A week?
No,
a day? A day? Come on, day. Sorry.
No,
sorry.
it's not per day.
Damn.
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad if you drink once a day. Funny enough, though, if you feel the need to have a drink every day, that means you're an alcoholic. Even if you only have one drink a day.
Need. Which is why every time I ever get to a point where I think I need a drink, I abstain for as long as it takes for the urge to go away.
No, that's a good point.
Because there's a big difference between wanting a drink and needing a drink.
Needing a drink, indeed.
But if I feel an inherent addicted urge, I'm like, nope, that's it, no more drink. I went a year and a half at one point.
Mm-hmm.
You see, Michael Keller, one glass of wine a day. See, there you go. Thank you.
No, it's nothing bad to drink a glass of wine, but you don't need one glass a day.
No, not need. Not need. Want. Remember, we don't want need. We want. Would like.
Fair enough.
Enjoy.
Fair enough.
Savor.
Fuck that an hour. What do you mean, Renovatio?
He's saying, fuck that, not once a day, 1 hour.
Oh, 1 hour, okay.
Being an Irish lawyer must be very stressful. I can imagine it is.
I used to have one of those hats where you could put two bottles upside down, and it had straws coming down. And
Oh my God, you're the person who actually liked that, are you? They are so cringy. They are so cringy.
They're very cringe, but it was so much fun. They're basically a bitch to drink from, by the way.
I bet. They aren't designed
They-
to be drunk from. They're designed to make you look like a dick.
Well, they're good at listen, it's carnival. It's perfectly all right to do. No, but they're a bitch to drink from. Because if you put the bottles upside down, I had one that you could screw them in so that the pressure of the drink, it won't start spilling, but the pressure goes into the straw.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to keep the straw closed.
Yeah, or otherwise you just
Otherwise,
blows
it just.
out.
So yeah, that was a bitch. So another friend of mine, he was like, "Oh well, you can also do it the other way around." So he basically got a piece of rubber hose, well, thin rubber hose, and he extended the straws and he put the bottles upside down, or rather right side up, so that the stuff wouldn't fall out. And he put the straws in, and he actually sucked in the beer, which got him drunk. In the 2 beers, because yeah, that's just really a bad way of drinking your beer.
Sorry, I was just refrigerating. The thing is, persistent drinking is actually all about habit. If you drink not necessarily huge quantities, but steadily, like for hours on end, most days of the week, then that's how you end up, Richard. I'm not saying that's from experience, even though it is. Well, no, it's so when I was young, we used to go on these work trips from where I lived down to London. And basically, we started at about 6 in the morning. And in the minibus were packs of cans of beer. And you start drinking. And you get down to the hotel in about 5-6 hours. So you've been drinking for 5-6 hours. Check in. Go have something to eat, with which you have a few drinks, and then you go back to your room, and then you have the night out, and you have some more drinks.
Yeah.
And so you've been drinking basically for 18 hours, and the thing is, you don't feel drunk, even though to the outside world you are pissed as a fart, right? And it's because it's just slow and constant. So you can keep going, but you never drink quickly at any point. You just a sip. And you can just, it feels like you can go on indefinitely.
Well, I think the longest time I lasted with merely drinking alcohol, but then again, I was a lot younger. I can't do it now, that's for sure. I think it's 20 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
But then I left the house. I used to work at a discotheque, and I left the house at 8 o'clock in the evening to go to work, and then we worked till 3 o'clock, and then Saturday morning a band would come to tape their video for a song, and they would come at 7, and now we close at 3, then we have to clean up. So normally we'd go home around 4 or 5, but this time we were like, you know what, I'll stay around. Let's see what it's like. So we stayed, and then Saturday I had to work again, and I hadn't slept all day yet, and I hadn't eaten anything either. Everything I took, I imbibed.
Hey,
Everything.
I learned when I was young. Okay, so when I was at school, so this is the late 70s, early 80s, that the average German man gets a third of his nutrients through beer.
Well, I'm not sure if that's true, but
we were taught that as a fact.
Yeah, I'm willing to believe that you were told that as a fact. I'm still not sure if it's true. But yeah, no, so yeah. And then that's not true though. I did sleep for a few hours that day because Saturday, when the band was gone, they were done. We stayed all day and looked at the recording, which looked stupid, but maybe also because we were slightly intoxicated. And then I had to work Saturday, but I think the band was done at around 6, 7 o'clock, and I had to be back at around 10 o'clock. So I think I left for a few hours, and I may have slept over at a girl I used to know. I'm not sure. I can't remember. The funny thing is, I couldn't remember the next day, so that's. But I may have slept. Now, the worst thing that ever happened to me was being drunk and then being awake so long that you were awake whilst turning sober. That was crap. That was a funny feeling. No, that's not a funny feeling. That was a fucked up feeling. That was nice. Am I alone now?
If you like.
All right, I don't know. Because no one responded.
Michael, see, you don't think it's as much as a third, and Michael Keller would have guessed more.
Sorry. I don't understand what you mean, John.
I said a third. You said you didn't think it was that much, and Michael Keller said he would have guessed it was more than a third. His reaction was the opposite to yours.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Well, yeah, but he's Swiss.
Yeah, and therefore has more intimate knowledge of the Germans.
Hey, the Dutch are to the German than the Swiss.
I don't know about that.
Well, listen. Does Switzerland share a border with Germany?
Yes.
Well, so do the Dutch. I thought Australia was between them, actually, but...
No, Australia's to the east. Germany's to the north.
Now I have to check this. He could be correct, by the way. Yes.
Well, if you imagine you've got the French-German border, and where does that end?
No, yeah, you're right.
It's the French-Swiss border, which means the Swiss must have a border with Germany.
Yeah, that's true. And the Dutch border and the Swiss border are roughly the same size. With Germany, I mean.
Yeah.
So, all right then. Well, in that case, it makes perfect sense. The truth must be somewhere in the middle.
Steak and potato flavored beer, anyone?
Steak and potatoes flavored beer.
Well, to be fair, we do have pies which are beer flavored gravy with the steak, but that's the other way round.
Night, Michael, by the way. Sorry.
Yes, good night, Mike. Well, I didn't see him say good night. Oh, duh. He said something after that. He said something after that which confused me. As I keep repeating, I'm easily confused.
I'm not quite sure, but I think Bavaria is Germany.
It is in Germany, yes.
So, yeah.
It is a region of Germany. Had a certain involvement in a certain political movement that caused particular problems a little while ago across Europe.
That is true, even though the leader of that thing came from Austria.
Yeah, I know. I made that joke on... I tried to say in response to the Greta Thunberg thing, is Sieg Heil an appropriate response to that speech of hers? And YouTube just blanket banned that comment, right? It didn't just suppress, because I've had comments suppressed so that only I can see it.
Yeah, but I can understand that.
Even I couldn't see it. No, so then I tried to write Sieg Heil so it was separated, and it still suppressed it. So then I rewrote it to a failed Austrian artist who was popular in Central Europe during the mid 20th century.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I don't think most people would have understood that, to be honest.
Yeah, I know, and I was lamenting his poor history teaching of the modern world, because I'm of an age where we paid more attention to such things.
Actually, this may have been a good way to do it. Instead of Sieg Heil, how about Climate Heil?
No. The Sieg was quite specifically relevant to the joke.
But the Sieg part is war. Well,
he's naughty. Yes. Because implying that the speaker could be a Nazi and you disapprove is obviously horrible. Allegedly.
Sieg Heil.
A bit like how offensive it is to teach your dog to do the Nazi salute as a way of mocking Nazis.
Yeah, well, funny enough, the Nazis didn't feel that they could charge someone when it happened to them whilst they were still in power.
Ah, yeah, well, you see, they haven't got the Scottish spirit of vindictiveness.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, well, no. The Germans didn't think it was that big a deal.
Okay, Anxious Aussie, I'm curious. Can you do all the ADL hate symbols within a stream, or would that take several?
Actually, I don't know. How many are there?
I was just guessing it was going to be a lot. If they are classifying the OK sign as a hate symbol, they have a low bar.
Well, I mean, come on.
Richard's saying the same thing. Are you going to stream in segments, or are you going to do all 356 hours in one go? I think there's an 8-hour limit on YouTube.
No, you can do 24-hour streams.
Can you? Oh, for goodness sake.
Yeah, I'm not saying you should.
Maybe it's just the automatic recording of them that's limited. Because the automatic record the stream. And I was looking into it, because if you go over 2 hours, the immediate upload cuts off anything over 2 hours. But I also found that if it's too long, it's a problem. Sorry.
I'm looking at this ADL hate sign thingy.
Oh, come on, share. Where's my thing?
Wait.
Sorry, mate. I'm struggling for Windows. There we go. So.
Yeah, I'm nearly done.
No, it's fine. I have to find this, and then I can...
now, right?
No, I'm not seeing it in the Hangout.
All right. Let me see what I did wrong then. But if you're going to do it, Anxious, I would love to be there. So there you go.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Can you maximize it?
Yeah, sure. 1 sec. Click. There you go. It should be maximized now.
Okay. No, that's fine. It's Hangout. It's the Hangout window that.
Apparently, there are 214 results.
Yeah, that's what Anxious Aussie said.
And the second one is 100% funny. I mean, the first one, 111, disputable, fair enough, blah, blah, blah. The second one is 100%, and 100% is 100% white. Yeah, because you don't have anything like 100% wool or anything like that.
Or 100% in your exam result, or 100% effort, or 100%.
It's
Lena
we
Dunham is.
well, she should be.
Mm.
And the third one I find very funny too. The figure 109 and 110 is a white supremacist numeric shorthand for the number of countries anti-Semites claims Jews have been expelled from. Which is it, 109, 110?
Well, maybe it's Britain's fault because we expelled the Jews and then we invited them back again.
But in all fairness, though, if I see 109 or 110, I'm thinking of the Defender. The Defender, you say? Yes, the Defender. Wait a second.
Or maybe it's the transition as they're getting kicked out of Iraq.
No.
No, I'm just saying, maybe it's a transition because they're getting kicked out of Iraq.
Oh, come on.
There's milk on that list. I'm not controlling the list. Oh, the Land Rover Defender.
And this is the Defender 110.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see if I can do this a little bit smoothishly. Probably not. Not quite sure what happened last time. And this is the Defender 109. The difference is the length of the chassis. The Defender 109 has a 109 chassis, and then the 110 has a 110 chassis. Which
do you mind if I consider that a rather fringe area of interest for the ADL hate list?
Yeah, that's my point.
Because there were also a Messerschmitt 109 and 110.
True.
In the Second World War.
True that. But when I think 109, 110, 109, 110, I think Defender.
And I think Messerschmitt. Because that's my era. I grew up with war stories and reading little comic books about fighter pilots, and the 109 was a Messerschmitt.
Yeah, true that. But apparently the number 12 is the number for the Aryan Brotherhood. Wasn't the number 11 also? Oh no, that's because of the Aryan Knights.
The ADL says context is important. So in other words, it's not what you do, it's who does it. Who says things like that? People like white supremacists. So the ADL are Jewish supremacists. The ADL being a Jewish organisation.
They are, but that's been proven many a time, and that's also why nearly everything they are against is right-wing nationalists, blah, blah, blah.
Especially Benjamin Netanyahu.
Anxious, when are you going to do the stream? Because I would love to be there.
Modwain, Richard asked if milk is on the list. Can you see if milk is on the list?
I didn't want to do the whole list because now we're stealing
he just wants you to search it to see if
I don't know. No. Scroll, lots of numbers.
Can you not search?
No.
Antifa was there. Antifa was there. Did you see?
Or
yeah. Oh, anti-Antifa is there.
Anti-Antifa.
Anti-Antifa is a hate symbol.
Yes, Antifa isn't, but anti-Antifa is.
Because Antifa are really sincere in what they stand for. Not.
Yeah, but this if you're not allowed to be anti-Antifa because reasons, then yeah.
Which is also a speed limit in parts of France, but they also have 130 as a speed limit. Anxiously.
Imagine a world without hate, Harvey Milk. No, that's not what I was looking for, is it? See, that's what happens when I use the search. Fuck. Go away, you. Come on. No. So, yeah, that wasn't a good idea. So,
no, don't worry.
No, I'm going to scroll through.
I was merely passing on the question. Well, they're obviously in alphabetical order. So you can scroll. You don't have to scroll down each page. You can scroll straight to M.
Yeah. But that's not
That's the next page. Next page. Next page.
So
Oh,
that's what I've been doing so far.
no, I know,
Well,
but you had your mouse over the previous page.
milk should have been here.
Yes, so it's not.
So let's go back one. Maybe we
Moon
missed it.
Man. Moon Man.
Mijn Ehre heißt Treue. My honor is loyalty. How is that?
Because it's obviously, it says it was used as a motto of the Waffen SS.
Yes, but there are many groups that use this. The Romans used to use this.
And the Waffen SS probably got it from the Romans because they were big on Roman symbolism, as in the Roman salute.
Lotti means Lady of the Invisible Empire. I've never heard that.
Otherwise known as a feminist. No, seriously, the feminists helped set up the Ku Klux Klan. So therefore,
American feminist.
Well, the Ku Klux Klan is an American organization, so yeah.
I mean, feminists aren't only in America.
No. Logic, mate. Logic. I said feminists helped set up the Ku Klux Klan. The people who helped set up the Ku Klux Klan identified as feminists. This is not a complete union.
See, this is interesting. Ku Klux Klanlobes. Didn't we talk about the
Catholic? The Catholic. Yeah.
We talked about it last week, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah. The Catholic Easter. Costumes. But you've got to understand that the America does not understand the rest of the world at all.
Was it this? No, it wasn't. Well,
it doesn't matter. We know the one. The point being is that Americans don't understand the rest of the world. As far as they're concerned, there's America, and everything else is just noise.
These are the ones. Okay, look at these white hoods.
Yeah, I know. And it's Antonius Banderas who's in one.
Yeah, well, what a white supremacist he must be. My ear is sore.
Well, it reminds me of that, what's his name? Oh, shit. Mel Brooks joke.
Oh, I can't remember that.
Yeah, I think it's in Blazing Saddles. And so the guys are in the Klan gear. And then the hand comes out and it's black because it's Sheriff Bart.
I mean, look at these brown white supremacists.
Yeah. Yeah, they're building up those children to literally hate non-Catholics.
No, these are Catholics.
Speak for yourself, Anxious Aussie.
Everything else wants to be American. No.
Speak for yourself. Trust me. If people go through a phase, and I probably did myself, of wanting to be America, it is a transitory one, and then we're really glad we're not.
Well, Anxious, you're saying Hitler breathed, therefore. Did you know that every murderer in the world at one time in his life drank water? I'm not saying there's a, relation to it.
No. Not just that. He loved dogs and he was a vegetarian. So obviously dog-loving vegetarians are Hitler.
I always like the fact that people talk about Hitler being, he was an atheist. Yeah, no.
Nothing can be said about the Nazis about them not being spiritual. They were into mysticism as much as, they were mental about it.
Did they put all the runes in there? By the way, I mean the Yera rune is an ancient European runic symbol and part of the runic alphabet. Yes, it is. It is one of a number of runic symbols. Yes, 24, if I'm not mistaken. That white supremacists have appropriated. No, they haven't. Yera is a symbol of time. It means how do you call it? The going on of time, the elapsing of time. Also, it can be used to mean year. Funny enough, there are people who say that that's why we call year because of the rune.
Well, okay. So I want to mention something very curious. Okay, about language. Okay, so we in Europe mostly, not a few of them, but mostly speak Indo-European languages. That is, languages coming from India originally, India, Persia area. But the languages are all related. There was a Latin branch and a Germanic branch, but even those can be traced back to a single root. Okay. When they had the cuneiform tablets of where Sumerian Empire, way back, the first tablets they could find with writing on, and they couldn't translate them. And there's all these techniques you can use for linguistic analysis. The problem is you need something. Okay, you need something.
I'm going to stop sharing, by the way, because we're stealing Anxious Aussie's idea. That's not cool.
Yeah. So hang on a sec. I'll just transition that back because we don't need to see that. Not okay. So you need something. You just need one little clue to start from. Okay. And they found a word. Somebody found a word. And that word was water. Not the word for water. It was literally the word water. W-A-A-T-E-R. Now, what's interesting about that is it's the English word for water, but it's not the word of any of the European languages between Britain and the Middle East. And so even though they translated this language because they cracked the code, because they found the word water, and we now have the word water, that word didn't persist as the word water.
Okay.
Well, because if like in Germany, what is it? Wasser? That is the T and S, right? And so this is the point. Although the languages are related and they use this relation to crack the code.
In the Netherlands, it's what?
Yeah, but languages do weird things, is my point.
Oh, yeah, no, that's true.
That's my point. Languages do weird things. And so when people say, oh, this word means that because, well, you have to be really, really careful.
Yeah, and
sometimes it's pure coincidence.
Yeah. Anyway, I am going to go AFK for a sec. I need to buy a break. I'll be right back.
Well, you've done well. I just want to say he's done well. Hasn't he done well, guys? And gals. Yes, I'm sure your considered thoughts on the ADL hate list would be far better than our ramblings and just flashing them up on the screen. Hate is white supremacy, which means all the left are white supremacists. All of them? Because I've never met a more hateful bunch in my life. They seem to hate literally everything. it's just me. Because another thought I was thinking of, I know, apologies in advance, wait for Modwain to disagree, is the way we've let fragility, people call it victim culture, but I'm going to call it fragility. Being offended, being, complaining about your hurt feelings and how damaging it is, how that has overtaken society. I mean, it's such an appalling concept in my mind. I mean,
Yeah.
there is a fundamental difference between bullying, which is concerted, deliberate, focused attack, and disagreement, no matter how poorly worded. And yet we have all these professional victims who will go, oh, I get so much hate mail, oh, I get all these rape threats or whatever. Okay. And what's your point? Because it's only your feelings. And as I say, there's a difference between a person being targeted and there being a concerted attack on that person, and oh, but you said mean things about this aspect of my identity, so toughen up. It's like, how have we let the mentally fragile take over society? Because it always used to be, if someone said, oh, I don't like that, it'd be like, and what's your point? Go and sort yourself out. Now it's everybody else has to mind themselves.
Yeah, I know. This is one of my pet peeves in my work as well. Having said that, though, oh, by the way, Anxious, if you want to know about the runes, I know rather a bit about them. So I could tell you a lot if you want to. I used to write and read the runes. Now, writing runes is not hard because then just using it as an alphabet. Reading the rune is like divinations. It's good fun to do. And as with all divinations, it's funny because it's bullshit, but you can make people believe. Sorry, that's me. And because you responded to the great, I did not know that bit.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I agree with you, John. I mean, there's something seriously wrong because we somehow created a victimhood currency.
It's not just victimhood, it's this fragility. And because there's a difference between being in any way materially disadvantaged and finding it unacceptable that people have a bad opinion about some part of your identity. Because the only legitimate attitude to someone who has a problem with your identity is to tell them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah. And Renovatio, you are partly correct. The progressive left are a hate movement, in that you're correct. But they hate everyone who disagrees with them, period.
Yeah.
So even black people that don't agree with them are coons or whatever.
And do you know what's funny about that? So I heard in the civil rights movement in America, the white supremacists held a special hatred for the white people who supported civil rights. And now the racists of the left hold a special hatred for the blacks who don't see themselves as victims.
Yeah, because it's the same.
It's exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
It's, you're supposed to be one of us. Why aren't you in lockstep with us? Because it's authoritarianism.
It's
And this is what
authoritarian.
the fragility is all about. It's all about authoritarianism. It's like, you're not allowed. Well, you're not the boss of me, is my answer to them. I can think what I like. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the problem is if when people say, "Oh, I'm offended," or "I feel unsafe," or blah blah blah, people just turn around and say, "Don't be stupid," or "I demand you do something about climate change, or we will never forgive you." People just say,
Yeah.
"Piss off," right?
Climate
They
change
would
is a
stop
really.
doing it. They would stop doing it. Nothing to do with climate change. I'm using that as an example. I'm just saying, if we told them to get over themselves, they would stop doing it. But instead, we enable them. And like all toddlers, if you enable behavior, they will be encouraged to repeat it.
There's this old English bullshit. This whole old Indian story, American Indian story, that in your mind is a white wolf and black wolf fighting for supremacy. And then the question is, which one will win? And the answer is the one that you feed.
Yeah. But this.
But this is true. This is education 101. This is social. How do you call it? Social engineering 101. Do you want to get something done? Then feed into the thing you want to get done.
Oh, I know. But what I would question is whether there was two wolves to these people or a wolf and a lamb. Because they don't even have the other side from everything I can observe. I mean,
Oh, sorry, anxious. I understand that you think it's cool about the runes thingy. I'm not sure if it's doable to do a stream on them. I mean, it may be. I don't think people would really be that interested in it. Not this crowd, anyway. I mean, you might.
not this
And then,
crowd anyway. He's just written us off without asking.
no.
This
It's
is
not that.
bloody typical.
No. That's not it. No, because listen, if you want to know, sure, of course, I'll tell you.
I'm
But
joking.
it's
Modwain, I'm pulling your leg.
yeah, but to me, it's interesting. But yeah, it's also ancient history. But yeah, thank you for the deep one on that description thing. It's not mine. I'm merely copying it. But yeah, I do think, and this is what Jordan Peterson would call this is a Jungian trope, because it is. Everyone instantly understands what you mean when you say that, but nobody thinks about it at first. But as soon as you explain, everyone instantly understand it. But this is the whole thing with religion and social philosophies that used to be normal around the world. How come they were normal? Because people used it to educate their children and their society at large. So yeah, there is that. Anyway. And he's interested in his pagan roots.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, anxious Aussie. I know it's a typo, but no one ever called Prussians decent.
Fuck you.
I couldn't resist that one.
Well, anxious.
I don't mean.
I mean, let me know. Let me know, because if you want to, we can do it on this channel. I can come over to your channel. If.
I think the bigger problem might be. Well, I don't know, because you as long as you're not working, you can do it in the middle of the night, our time, because that would then be anxious Aussie's day.
Well, I could do it in her morning or her late evening as well. I'll get up early.
Yes. Well, I'm just saying.
Or we can do it on my stream, but as she said that she has someone who's interested in it. So what do you want? Anxious? Let us know. And I'm still very interested in helping out with that ADL thingy. To me, that's really funny. I can't understand that people are so stupid though to believe in that stuff.
It's all about authority. This is the point. It's all about authority.
It is. Yeah, you're correct. It really is. Well, but this is a hate.
People set themselves up as an authority. And then there is a demographic, just as you were talking about earlier, there is a demographic who will go along with it.
Yeah, true that.
Because the authority said so it must be true.
Yeah. But there's stupidity behind it.
Yeah, I know it's stupid, but it's exactly with the Antifa, right?
Yeah.
Antifa say they're anti-fascist.
Yeah,
therefore, if you're opposed to them, you are bad. Nothing to do with reality, nothing to do with positions people actually take. It's all to do with the labels.
Yeah, true that. Yeah, but I mean, strange though. Busy time of year though, spring has sprung. And not where we are at.
No, but they're the other way around, aren't they?
Yeah.
There are those who argue that the globe is upside down and that the North should be on the bottom.
Why?
I don't know. I just think they're, your usual North-phobic, white-phobic, male-phobic, best society that's ever been phobic morons. But
let's be honest, nearly everything that happened on the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah, I know. But it doesn't really matter, that's the point. But because of the symbolism of it's on the top.
Well, all right. I agree. We are on the top. That's where we should be. Feel free to quote mine me. No, but sorry, go on.
No. There's something I meant to say. Well, that's what they claim, Richard. This is the point. It's because they're anti-fascist. Well, I am Antifa. I'm just not Antifa because I'm anti-fascist. I just happen to think that Antifa are the fascists.
Yeah, they are. Forcing people to not be allowed to have free speech. That seems fascistic to me.
And they're racist and sexist, which are the very things they claim to be against, but which they epitomise.
And they have
resisted racism and sexism.
And they have absolutely no problem attacking the weak of society.
Well, all they do is they say, you're a bad guy, therefore you're a fascist, therefore we can hit you. Which isn't logic, it is reasoning, and it is toxic reasoning, it is vile reasoning, it is the reasoning of the fascist.
Yeah. But then again, fascism and the Bolsheviks came from the same ideology.
Of course. But you see, what is central to it? Authoritarianism. I am opposed to authoritarians. This is what I say I am against. I don't care how you dress it up. I don't care what labels you give it. If you're authoritarian, I'm your enemy.
Yeah, true that.
And so whether they call themselves Antifa or,
Yeah, I don't care about names anyway. I mean, if names are that important, then no one will have a problem with North Korea because, hey, it's a democratic republic. Well, maybe not.
I'm laughing at Anxious Aussie. You say criminals and convicts, we say talented.
They're not talented.
True that. No, true that. I mean, and Yes, and this is the point. Because a conformist society stifles itself by its very conformity.
Actually, this is funny because there are people who are suggesting that there has been a social study done. It's what 10, 15 years ago. That's the reason why Asians are great at creating stuff that others have already created, but are not that great at inventing stuff, is because all Asian cultures are basically conformist.
Yeah.
Independent thought isn't really
No. They're good at
appreciated.
implementation. They're good at
They're very
implementation, not at creation.
Whereas in the Western world, especially in the European Western world, independent thought has always been somewhat appreciated.
But they don't only beat up straight white men, they beat up queer Asian men, Richard Beer.
True that. True that.
Did I know they were men impersonating women? No. They can't be impersonating, because if they identify as women, they are women, and they are biologically really women by their own ideology.
Yes, that's why turfs don't fall for that, because hey, let's be honest, either you're against men or you think men is a social construct. If the first one is true, you can't be against them. If you think the second one is true, if you think the first one is true, you can be against men, because there's a difference between men and women. If you think it's a social construct, you cannot be against men or women, because it's all in the mind anyway.
Yeah, well, the whole concept of social construct is so badly
Constructed.
Expressed. There are things that are social constructs. Language is a social construct.
Language is a social construct.
However, the ability and behavior of language is a biological construct.
Yeah.
But
Well,
the
communication
language itself is social.
Yeah. No, communication is natural because that's what all humans do.
No, but it's not just that. But the language instinct, as Steven Pinker said, humans cannot learn. It's not possible for children to learn language in the way they do if there isn't an automatic mechanism helping them.
No, it's true. No, to communicate is natural. So the point is not language. Language is the method of communication. Communication is the natural part.
Yes, and the specifics of the language is social. And so where the feminists go wrong, or where the SJM would go wrong, is they say, oh, this aspect's social, therefore it's all social. No, there are biological components. So
we're talking about social construct, and I can't remember this. A few years ago, I had this talk with someone. I think it was online, and he was like, "Oh, but blah blah blah, social construct." And I said, "Okay, well, let's be honest. When I talk about a chair, then me talking about chairs is a social construct.
Yeah.
The chair is a social construct.
But
the physical,
also a physical object.
Yeah, the physical thing isn't a social construct, but the naming of the physical thing is a social construct.
Even technically, the use is a social construct. I mean, you can sit on a rock. That's what I'm saying. You can sit on a rock. You can sit on the floor. The construction of furniture specifically to sit on is a social construct.
Yeah, no, I don't. I wouldn't call that a social construct. I would call that evolution, but not a social evolution.
No, it is. It's a social thing, because different societies, right? You go to Japan, right, and you see them eating a meal. They sit on the floor by this really low table.
Yeah.
They have beds, futons that are barely off the floor. The construction of the chair is a societal, social thing.
Sorry, I had myself muted and I couldn't click the button fast enough. I understand I understand what you're saying, and I am agreeing with you that it's a thing based on where the people live, but I don't agree that it's a social thing. For example,
Okay, then
uh,
the question is, what do you mean by social construct?
a social construct, well, a language is a social construct. A social construct is something that people have devised because there wasn't anything there and now there is this.
Yeah, and that's a chair.
Well, but a chair is a replacement of something. It's an improvement on something. So it's not that there wasn't anything there, no, but now we have something better.
Oh dear, we're getting into semantics again.
Yeah, but that's what it's all about.
No. I mean, never mind.
Yeah, I'm sorry, mate.
You can sit around without chairs. The invention of chairs is a social construct.
There's a reason. There's a reason why in certain cultures they did have chairs, and in certain cultures they did not.
Mm-hmm.
Japan, the Middle East, Africa have, on average, a warmer climate.
Yeah.
So sitting on the floor isn't that much of an issue. Whereas in Europe, especially Northern Europe, sitting on the floor is an issue. And that's why you saw the development of certain tools for that. And not just there, because even in Greek and Roman societies, you saw this. Because winters were dreadful. You wouldn't want to sit on the floor in the winter. And we're talking about cultures before the Roman cultures, obviously, because chairs have been around far longer than that. I mean, I think they've already found stuff like chairs 10,000 years old, easily. So basically, yes, you can sit anywhere, but you would want to sit off the ground, because sitting on the ground is too cooling. So it's basically an evolution from sitting on branches and sitting on rocks and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it doesn't stop it being a social construct.
Well, it does.
Okay, you say it does, I say it doesn't. We're back at one of these impasses.
Okay. That's why I said okay a moment ago. Oh, making too much noise, sorry. That's where I go wrong with them, Ren. What's that?
I don't know. Ravazio said, just as they threatened to murder Erin Pitsey, who did so much for feminism, not feminism, women, and domestic violence against women and men, but she wanted to care about men. That's where she went anti-feminist, and that's why they attacked her.
Well, but she started as a feminist.
Again, there is no evidence of this. She did not start as a feminist. People say she started as a feminist. In her own description, she never says that. She says,
no, that's not true.
We did this, and the feminist came in. She refers to the feminist as the other.
Mm-hmm. I think I saw an interview where she never called herself a feminist. That's true, but she did started working for the whole idea with domestic shelters was because she believed in the rhetoric. But then when she started, she recognized.
No, she started the shelter because she had a lifelong experience of domestic violence. She herself grew up in an environment of domestic violence where both her parents were violent.
Mm-hmm. And that's when she started making a domestic violence shelter, and then later she started with a domestic violence shelter for men as well, and that's when the shit
again, when she started, she never separated women from men. She was saying half the workers in her violent shelters for women were men. She thought it important to have men good men in contact with the women.
Mm-hmm.
So no, she never believed the rhetoric.
Okay. Well, Erin Pizzi is a hero, that's for sure. She did go against the stream, and for that she earns the respect of people.
As I say, when she was talking about, they would take it from a pure domestic violence scenario where she recognised women could be as violent as men. She realised it was a generational issue, not a gender issue. And she said she says, and the feminists came in.
Yeah, I have to look it up because I saw an interview with her, but it's some time ago that I saw it. So
I've watched several of her interviews and several times her describe what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's have a look. I found something.
You found something. What did you find?
It was on a blog called Suffragette City. It says, Erin Pizzi is a novelist and activist who started the world's first domestic violence refuge in England in 1971. Called Chiswick Women's Aid, it is now known as the organisation called Refuge, the largest of its kind in the UK. Erin is, however, a controversial figure in feminism. After starting the refuge, she claimed that her cause had been hijacked by militant feminists to demonise men. In fact, she's received death threats due to her research into the claim that most domestic violence is reciprocal, that both partners were violent to each other. Despite this, Erin is still active in the domestic violence sector, and in 2007, she opened the first Arab refuge for victims of domestic violence in Bahrain. Then it says, why should we thank her? Despite her controversial views that domestic violence is not a gendered issue, Erin started the world's first women's refuge, and her work was certainly pioneering for the time.
Okay. Well, I mean, she is especially in Europe. She's one of the leading people, I think.
She's a renowned anti-feminist. She's an avowed men's rights activist and anti-feminist.
But I'm not sure, but I can remember that she said that she turned into.
I found it. Here's the quote. Okay. Daily Mail interview from September 2009. Why I loathe feminism and believe it will utterly destroy the family. Okay.
Okay.
There was a... Oh, damn it. Okay. 30 years later, when feminism exploded onto the scene, I was often mistaken for a supporter of the movement, but I have never been a feminist. Because having experienced my mother's violence, I always knew that women could be as vicious and irresponsible as men. So those are her words. She has never been a feminist.
Okay. And it's already 2 o'clock. Oh, time flies. What's your next video going to be about toxic? I'm curious. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I was the only one Still
No,
talking.
that's all right. Sorry, I was just finishing with that research into Aaron Pitts' actual position.
Well, fair enough. Sorry.
Something
yeah.
is in the red pill. Probably Aaron Pitts saying she's never been a feminist. As I say, the interview, I've seen several of her interviews, and she's remarkably consistent in the tales she tells about what happened and her positions. And there was nothing that ever indicated she was a feminist, which was my position. And now I found her literally stating she has never been a feminist. So presumably she's as much in the doghouse as Dominic Raab is, who was utterly pilloried for saying feminism is cancer, because it is.
Yeah. That, yeah.
Okay, so we've been going for 2.5 hours?
Yeah. Well, you have. I judge later.
Not that much.
Yeah. I have absolutely no excuse, though. I'm sorry.
That's all right. We'll forgive you. We don't care. Life happens. And you gave me a title. Is Younger Fart okay? Missing in action or just busy?
Well, that is that. The end of the Empire UN and their global hold. I hope so, and I hope we'll see that soon. Yeah, the little girl one was interesting as well. But I'm sorry, yeah. Younger fart is okay. I was absolutely... And it dawned on me it was 11 something. It was already after the stream had started, and I'm like,
yeah,
oh, it's Saturday. I have no idea why. I'm only myself.
It's all right. I had a plan, and thankfully you saved our poor audience from the realization of said plan. I had a couple of old pieces I wrote on Minds to read out to them.
Okay.
The first one is a new political framework, which is where I described. I wrote this one on the November the 23rd, 2016, so just under 3 years ago. And it describes why, even as a leftist, I wanted a coalition across the left-right spectrum against the authoritarians. And the second one is unlearning compartmentalization. And that is this whole problem of oversimplification, putting things in boxes. And I argue that this is a fundamentally flawed approach, because it means you understand nothing, because by simplifying you actually deviate from reality. And I recently heard a stream where essentially Jordan Peterson was saying the same thing. So I was going to read those two out. And when did I write that one? I wrote that one on January the 15th, 2017. So still nearly 3 years ago.
Why don't you make them into your videos then?
Because they're done works. And I was just going to read them out.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that. You can do that.
I can do that. Especially as they are handy... How do you know they're just trolls? Are they made out of silicon? Anxious Aussie says half her subs are just trolls.
That's all right, though.
No, but just trolls. Not trolls, just trolls. So they have absolutely no redeeming features whatsoever, which is sad. Even trolls have a purpose when they're the right sort of troll.
Hey, listen, if half of the trolls on her channel sub to me, my channel would be 10 times bigger. Well, not 10 times. His channel would be 10 times bigger. There you
Nah.
It's all. Listen, I mean, it's amazing to me anyway to see how channels grow and whatnot. I must be crap.
Well, it's more about sustained effort. I mean, look at Toxic Thread. She's been slowly, steadily, conscientiously, and life interruptedly working on hers.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
And it's a slow effort because she's had to stop for this, that, and the other, and it interrupts the growth. But you know, she really makes an effort at it, and she's been on that America Free Radio podcast the other week, and so forth. And it's like, oh, that's what it takes. It takes a commitment. And if you're like me, with an anti-commitment to growth, a commitment against growth, then you end up the other way. I get subs despite not wanting them. I don't know. Apologies to anyone sub to my channel. I'm just fussy.
Yeah, well, I haven't been that active on my channel either.
That's what I'm saying. You know, and it's not just regularity of content. It's also networking. And I have some news, and I have a little bit of news to give you on that score after we've done.
Actually, there's something else that I found funny. Recently.
Sorry, exactly. Nick's Radio. Crap channels have large subs counts and good channels don't, and actually it's the same reason why mainstream television's all garbage, and then you have to go to obscure cable channels for anything worth watching. It's exactly the same reason. Most people don't have any taste, and that's just life.
But the one thing I find funny, I've noticed that I had two things that I subscribe to that I'm pretty sure I never subscribed to. But they're in my subscription feed. It's really weird.
Yeah. Now, you got to love them YouTube algorithms.
Yeah. True that. Anyway, I hope you guys don't mind, but I think I'm going to call it quits.
Quits? You're a quits? Like that?
No, quits. I'm old and tired and all that.
And I'm even older and even more tired and even more of all that.
So I would like to thank every one of you to be here even before me. I really feel bad about it. I know it shouldn't. It's not a big deal, but I really feel bad about it. I'm sorry.
What he's saying is he's sorry for leaving you all alone with me. And well, yeah, I understand the sentiment.
No. I'm not sorry that I left you all alone with John. Obviously not.
Yeah, of course he is. Of course he is. He should be. He's a sadist, making you suffer.
I clearly forgot it was Saturday evening. I'm sorry. I have no excuse, but I completely forgot. Anyway, thank you everyone for coming. John is the one running the show, not me, so I'm just leaving it up to him to call quits.
Yeah, I know. But, sorry, I was enjoying it. I know. Sorry. Yes, so thank you all so much. I'm glad that for whatever reason you stuck about, the ones of you stuck about, and obviously some of the Europeans found that bed was just too tempting at 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, or whatever local time was. But yes.
Yeah.
Myself, Nick's Radio. If Modwain doesn't show up, I shout at myself. And trust me, I do. Usually, if you hear me calling someone a stupid man, I am referring to myself, and it happens on a daily basis.
I'm only here to give him some, how do you call it, diversion.
You do not think I yelled once? Well, no, that's because I hadn't given myself time. But with time, I would have yelled at myself. Trust me, I do all the time. Like when I was making coffee and put everything in the wrong thing, and it was like because I make coffee in a complicated way. But, okay, so thank you very much all for coming. Your patience is endearing, okay? Much appreciated, and we love you all.
Oh, and we hope to see you all next time.
We do. That was an illusion, anxious Aussie. And I had a chance to think about it because I didn't think Modwain was coming. I had no idea where he was. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to say good night in 1, 2, 3. Good night.